good morning, good morning, good morning. About 9 o'clock here in Thailand in the morning, and welcome back to me. Welcome back to True Blue Thai. Hope you're doing well. It's a Thursday morning here in Thailand, and one Parahasabodi, as they say in Thai. Humid, bit of rain in the air, but bit of cloud as well. A lot more cloud. For instance, rainy season's definitely coming. So, but I can't see it been a few weeks, but we are getting a lot more rain than we had before. Anyway, I woke up to the realization that Arsenal got knocked out, stayed humble yesterday. They've got knocked out of the Champions League by PSG. No surprise. Am I surprised? Appears that, for instance, I haven't seen the game. I'm going to see highlights in a bit, but it appears that from what people were saying that, for instance, they just weren't the better team, etc. For instance, and they were doing a lot of plays where they're doing a lot of long throws. I'm hearing, and they're doing a lot of So, for instance, a lot of long throws and set pieces and etc. They didn't look like they were going to. Well, they did score, but consolation. But the right team went through. So there you go, Arsenal. Another failed season. Yeah, whatever. Now they've got only second place to fight for against Man City. So did Man City win the FA Cup and get second place, and we had a better season than Arsenal. Gotta say, it's all about trophies at the end of the day, regardless. I mean, I used to hate this, but it is all about trophies. And if Spurs win the Europa, what's it called? There you go. Anyway, so stay humble, Arsenal. Arteta, ha ha ha. Again, for instance, I've got nothing. Arsenal have always been like buying my second best team, especially because we used to buy a lot of players from them. For instance, yeah. So and. For instance, Adebayor and what's it called? Yeah, quite a few players we got from Arsenal. So I always liked Arsenal growing up. Never had a problem with them. But it's their fan base, and it's their entitled fan base at the moment, and I think Arteta's made them quite arrogant and ignorant. And so, for instance, and that's what really wound me up and a lot of Man City fans up as well. So, from what I hear. Anyway, so to them, and let's move on. So news, because I'm going to read something in a minute about the 115 case and APT case, which I was reading the article, and it's a good article. I'm going to read it to you, but I'm just going to start off, for instance, with transfer rumours again. Whether you believe them, not believe them. So, for instance, came up a lot of things. One was on Jack Grealish. Napoli appears that, for instance, are interested in Jack Grealish, but also interested in Kevin De Bruyne. So that was interesting to hear. That, for instance, they would be interested in both of these players. Antonio Conte is a huge fan of the winger. Okay, so but again, and also Kevin De Bruyne has been linked with Liverpool. Can't see that. Truth. Again, his wages, don't care. For instance, I just don't see that at all. The rumours. Appears also that Man City have had a bid turned down for Reinders. This guy, Reinders guy, for instance, we talked about before. So for instance, if that's true, I don't know. Again, it's on the rumour bill. For instance, again, until we get concrete or get more information from more reliable sources, but that was one thing. City urging Kevin De Bruyne to stay for the Club World Cup, but we've heard that one before. So, for instance, good to see Nathan Ake back in training. So that was good. So he was. We've only got one John Stones left to come back of our defensive trio who've been out for a while. So it's good to see him back. Ilkay Gundogan has been chatting regarding becoming an assistant to Pep Guardiola after it's finished. It said Ilkay Gundogan is becoming. I didn't ask him, but there's nothing better than starting out as Pep assistants. There's examples of the past few years have shown that it can pave a way for coaching career, and being Pep's assistant would be amazing. So. He also goes on to say that honestly, I want to play football for several more years because I feel that I've absolutely ready, very fit, and take care of my body. I feel that I really enjoy football, not only just not just another year, but at least 2 years, maybe 3 or 4. Things going on a bit there. Um, Good one. I have 1 year left on my contract. I'm happy about that. I'm not just getting older, but every year it's a long way off. But I'm also love being at Man City. So I think it's clearly that he wants to stay at City, and I think the coaching role, etc. I can't see him being having 2 or 3 or 4 more seasons left to play football. Even though his mind is, his probably body's probably thinking a different, plotting a different path. But I do believe, for instance, he can play for can do what it was brought in to do when we got Rodri back. For instance, and we'll have a proper midfield next season. It can come on, it can change games, it can play, it can do that pass, and it can do that, play that, be that person, for instance, which we expect him to be, for instance, with prior coming to City. So, yeah. So I do believe that, for instance, he can offer us something. So I'm happy for him to stay and then go into coaching. It appears that, for instance, Fernandinho is also very highly linked with Man City, being coaching. And I like this, the players coming back. And because they can offer something, because they've seen it, done it, bought the T-shirt, and they can offer something to the younger players. So it'd be wonderful to see, for instance, if we can get Fernandinho and Ilkay Gundogan on the coaching staff at Man City. It just shows you that these players absolutely love being at Man City, and they've had an amazing, and that's the reason why they stay a long time. As far as Kevin De Bruyne going, again, I still feel, for instance, there's an opportunity for him to stay. The Club World Cup, I'll give that opportunity. The Florian Wirtz, today's saga on Florian Wirtz. Appears that, for instance, again, it's the same, yay, nay, we don't know, for instance, who's telling what. Builder coming out, coming out and saying that Florian Wirtz is moving to München, but they're a German newspaper, German this, blah, blah, blah. But Leverkusen have said nothing. Also, Leverkusen here appears that they want 150 million for instance, for Wirtz. So I'm still sticking mine. I was going to go as high as a 6, him coming to City, but I'm still staying at a 5. I think it's out on the shelf. City will pay the salary, but I don't know. For instance, pay the asking price, and for Leverkusen, it good for Leverkusen, but I don't know. But the family wants him to stay in Germany, so but we'll see. Interesting, but yeah. Other than that, Oscar Bob's back in full team training as well. So, but other than that, nothing else. Right, okay, let's get on to this article. Now, again, for instance, I hate talking about 115 and I hate talking about the APT and blah, 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 because quite honestly, I just want it gone and sick and tired of talking about it. But I'm reading this article today, and I'm going to read it to you, for instance. I'll skip over as much of the bullshit as I can. But it's from a guy from Kieran Maguire, and he talks about what he feels the outcome will be. And I thought this was interesting. He also talks about the APT. And let me get into it now. Man City trial into the FFP charges will end in a score draw, according to renowned sports lawyer with the Premier League, a sports lawyer. With the Premier League winning some of the 115 charges, City were hit with charges and later upgraded to 130. And an independent hearing into the alleged breach finished at the end of last year. The number of sanctions have been blah blah blah. Responses. Okay. He goes on to say at the end of the article. I'm going to read the end of the article because that's when he actually finished off instead. It says, I said, where the Premier League will win some of the 115 charges, but Man City will have a fair strong case in others. He just feels that, for instance, Man City will win like 60-40, that kind of thing. So I think it will be the main crux of the matter. I think what's going to City will win. On to the other bits and pieces. Let me just jump back to that. Man City also back in the Premier League campaign against associated party transactions rules to be removed. The Premier League implemented these rules to prevent clubs, Manchester City and Newcastle mainly, from signing sponsorship deals with associated parties transacted at inflated prices. Man City have previously had a couple of major sponsorship deals blocked and argue that the Premier League's APT rules are unlawful, and won that. With the original APT rules now to be nil and void. The City lawyer successfully argued that financial loans from shareholders to their clubs should also be treated as subsidy, and in case where the loans have net zero or low interest, therefore should therefore have notion interest rates applied for PSR. After claiming victory in the case, City now want the rules applied retrospectively across the board, which would impact Arsenal more than any other Premier League club, as they have a higher shareholder loans of £324 million. Football Finance, Keir Maguire. I said on the retroactive application of APT rules means for Arsenal. Arsenal have a net zero cost of 5 million in 2022 and 6 million in 23-23. The price of football offer said the concrete loans and that critical concrete loans aren't that critical in the overall picture. So I don't see this as being an issue. There's a broader issue in the sense that Man City and Arsenal are the best of enemies. It is very, very personal between the two clubs. If there's an opportunity to score points against Arsenal and protect the other's interest as far as City is concerned. Yeah, so I think we'll see some sort of transactional rule with the APT. We're all seeing Brighton's loans with Tony Bloom have been converted in some of these that has been shared in debt. There will be discussions taking place between the club's lawyers and accountants and how existing loans can be reclassified in equality. Yeah, so there you go. A lot of it's, a lot of these articles, they kind of go over the same thing. Um, I, I think, based on the historic evidence, that City have got the upper hand in the Premier League, over the Premier League. DeMarco thinks, it's the score, it'll be a score draw. Yeah, so basically, for instance, what's it called? Is I think City are taking the fight to the Premier League. They really are, and over APT, for instance, and I've got an every good reason to feel confident regarding the APT. And for instance, and they're saying, well, if you're trying to stop it from City, well, why are you not calling out the likes of Arsenal, who got APT rules? Loans of 325 million. So, for instance, why is this? And again, it's like a double tier standard. And we're calling it the red cartel at the moment, aren't we? For instance, and this Arsenal we don't like Arsenal, for instance, and this is one of the reasons why, because of their hypocrisy and of calling out City, and they're just basically jealous because, again, they don't win anything. 5 years, Arteta, 5 years now, for instance, at Arsenal not winning anything. In two months, I believe. Also, for instance, the 115. Again, for instance, I can always believe that, for instance, the Premier would win something in the case. But I think overall the major issues of the 115, etc., which is could be serious for Manchester City in the long run, etc. I think, for instance, they're just too difficult to prove, and I think Man City will win and beat them. So there will be, for instance, I won't say a score draw, but I do think, for instance, because Man City will not get away with, will prove our innocence on the majority of the case. So, for instance, and I think it will be a big brouhaha, but the crux of the matter is that I think it will just be stalemate, and that'll be that. And for instance, I think people are going to feel the anti-Man Cities are going to feel robbed. I think about the future. They went the 115 case because they feel like Man City have either paid somebody off or got somebody. But Man City, the thing is, the Premier League are bitten off more than they can chew, in my opinion. And I think, for instance, they've tried to go too far and too much. And for instance, it sounds great on paper, but you've got to prove it. And I don't think they can prove it. I really don't. And I think, and again, this Kieran Maguire feels that, for instance, they will win a few of the bits and pieces. Of course, they're going to win something. But the majority is that Man City will win the most. And so for instance, I think a lot of people are going to be looking at the Premier League and go, well, what the hell was the point of that? So yeah, but I've always felt that deep inside. Anyway, but let me know what you feel. For instance, an Arsenal, for instance, losing yesterday, and also being the forerunners, etc. in the 115, just to stab it in the back against Man City because they don't win anything, and it clears like they haven't won anything again. And if Man City go and win the FA Cup and the Charity Shield and get finished second, well, we've had a better season. I'm sorry. So let's go through that. Well, anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. So, but like and subscribe. Tell me what you think. Are you confident like myself? I think are you more practical like myself? Like say, for instance, of course, we're not going to win everything, but we can win at least win something. For instance, and how do you feel about City's season? Are you like myself, etc., saying, well, it's not been the worst season, but for instance, again, that FA Cup is kind of pivotal, really, to say that, for instance, well, at least we can put our head up against the pulpit and go, well, at least we have had a better season than Arsenal. Anyway, guys, I love you. Leave it true blue tie from Thailand. Like and subscribe. And I will be back tomorrow with another Man City update. And I'm sure there'll be things to talk about. Take care.